Good afternoon, and welcome to Christ's Avengers with Jim Blockey. Christ's Avengers is not about vengeance, it's about heroes. Christ's first heroes were Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. Christ needs heroes today, specifically in politics, and that's what we'll be talking about here at Christ's Avengers. We will keep you updated on what's happening politically and how you can be involved. Christians being involved in politics is so critical for America. Are you ready to be a hero for Christ? If you are, then here's your host, Jim Blockey.
Hey, the devil saw God's soldier on his knees and thought he had won until the soldier said amen. Hallelujah. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you listening here again today. We're up here at the Ahern Hotel where they're having the SPOSA, CSP. I got it wrong. It's CSPOA, which is the Constitutional Sheriffs and Peace Officers Association. I'll get it right eventually. Probably not today, but I'll probably get it right eventually. This is where they're talking about the election that just happened. They caught so much fraud, let's say, that they actually have this association meeting here today. There's over 300 people here, and I've got with me Sheriff Richard Mack. I've got Dal Warner, who's the president of Relevant PAC, and my good friend, and should be Sheriff Stan Height right here with me right now. So, Sheriff Mack, what possessed you to put this together?
Truth, freedom, and the American way. Does that sound like Superman? But it really is fundamental beliefs in our country, fundamental beliefs in God, and trying to protect what made America great in the first place. And I'm not trying to bring Trump into that. He didn't coin that phrase. It's been around for a long time. We want to return America to her true constitutional republic. And the only solution we see left that is peaceful and effective is local. It has to be a grassroots effort locally, led by your sheriff and joined in by we the people, the most important part of our government, the people. And if you get sheriffs working with the people and build the defenses against the incursions of the federal and state corrupt governments, then we'll take America back, one county at a time. We just need to speed that process up now. America's falling too much, too fast. And it's time to get busy and recognize the problem and solve it. And sheriffs can do it. Do you know that sheriffs can actually tell the FBI, unless they're investigating 5 crimes that are delegated to the federal government by the Constitution? There's only 5. There's 5 crimes delegated to the authority of the federal government. Treason, counterfeiting, piracies, laws against nations or treaties, violations of treaties, and protect our borders. Those 5. Anything outside that, the sheriff can tell them to get out of his county. Okay? Mm-hmm. And they come in and violate. I don't care if it's state officers. I don't care if it's the governor himself. If he gives orders that violate the rights of the people, the sheriffs have an obligation to stand against it and interpose. Interposition. The doctrine of interposition is a peaceful but very powerful process to keep the government off the backs of the law-abiding citizen.
Have you had that personally ever happen, or do you know of people they've had the sheriffs had?
I tell you lots of incidents.
Yeah.
And one happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sheriff of Graham County, Arizona. We had a bridge wash out in the northeast part of the county. And the Army Corps of Engineers and EPA come in and act like they own the whole place. And they said, you can't touch that bridge. I said, and I'm not in charge of fixing bridges. I'm the sheriff.
Right.
Okay. So the maintenance workers and the county commissioners were trying to get the bridge fixed for the farmers and ranchers who lived out there. You have to use it to take their kids to school. So EPA and Army Corps of Engineers said, we have to do an environmental impact study. You can't touch your bridge. They said, we're putting it back the way it was. We're not doing anything else. And they said, nope, you can't do it. 10 months later, the bridge is not fixed or touched by anybody. The 3 county commissioners vote unanimously to fix the bridge, the federal government notwithstanding. And so the EPA and Army Corps of Engineers, oh, well, we're going to arrest you. They said they were going to arrest all 3 county commissioners. They're going to charge the county $35,000 a day for every day we're in violation. Well, how are we going to be in violation? They're arresting everybody. They're going to arrest the maintenance workers. And so I told the county commissioners, I know sometimes we don't get along. You know that. And I said, but we will station deputies, and if I have to call out the posse, we will give you posse members and deputies to follow you around your families, stay at your house 24/7 outside to make sure nobody comes and arrests you. We will protect the maintenance workers at the scene, and we will protect your funds. We're not paying any fines. I call in the Army Corps of Engineers and the EPA, and I said, you guys, look, I'm a real nice guy. I get along with everybody. But you're not arresting anybody in my county. You have no authority to arrest anybody. If you try to get in the way of us fixing this bridge or arrest anybody in my county, I will arrest you. And I said, maybe the county attorney just dropped the charges. But I'll arrest you on a Friday evening when the judge has gone home, and you'll stay there at least till Monday morning. And so, yeah, I'm not kidding around. So guess what? The next day, they all left town. We fixed the bridge. We didn't pay a dime in fines, and everybody was fine.
Now, the sheriffs have so much power that they, like here in town, Lombardo's the sheriff, and he just bowed down to whatever system.
You tell Lombardo I said he should be investigating election fraud in his county.
Yeah. He should be investigating himself, probably. That's right.
He really loves Clinton. He loves that guy, Clinton. He really loves Trump. Trump gave him that endorsement, and he loved that. Why isn't he doing what Trump asked?
Yeah, well,
let's get this election fraud investigated.
And so the purpose of this meeting, what do you hope the outcome of it is?
More sheriffs doing the job. In fact, It boils down to this. There's just too many sheriffs worried about keeping their jobs instead of doing their job.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm sorry, but that's the case. And sheriffs, you need to wake up to our awful situation, and you need to investigate this. There is a huge amount of evidence in 2,000 Mules. If you can watch that movie and tell me there's no probable cause to initiate an investigation, then I will call you a liar to your face. I've been in law enforcement 20 years. I was a detective. I was an investigator, and I was a sheriff. And I'm telling you, this needs to be investigated. The American people deserve it, and the people of Clark County deserve it, and the people of Nevada deserve it.
It's a matter of involvement, but I see that in a lot of things with our leadership is they're more worried about being reelected rather than doing their job that they got elected for in the first place. And I see it with, this is one of my pet peeves. I see a lot of preachers with the same way. They're more interested in filling seats than changing the hearts. And if they were to try to change hearts more and tell the truth exactly what you're trying to do here is you're just trying to tell the truth. And you've been threatened. And I know Mike Lindell who's going to be speaking later. He was threatened to the point where he couldn't go home I don't even know if he's been able to get home yet. But it's just a matter of leadership needs to have the courage. If you're going to be a leader, have the courage to do what you say you're going to do. Courage to stand up for what's right. And that's why I appreciate you.
Bishop should be setting up security at his home then and make sure he can come home.
That's right.
You know what? Let's do something for people.
And you saw, Stan Hite is here, and I know you supported him. You did a fundraiser for him, and what did you think of that? What did you think of that?
I made the big mistake of introducing him to the crowd. I couldn't get him to be quiet after that.
Oh my God!
But here it is, my event, and Stan comes and upstages me at my own event.
Stan got a standing ovation. The applause he got,
I'll tell you what, that was a standing ovation that everybody has dreamed of having. And they were still going when I got back up and I had to quiet them down. They wanted to quiet. I'm telling you what, that totally convinced me. This county wanted Stan Hite for sure.
Undoubtedly. And we think he won, and that's what we're trying to do, and that's what Sheriff Mack is here for, is try to do something to get election integrity back. Get rid of these Dominion machines, get rid of this mail-in ballot, and get it back to what it's been. So, Stan, how did that make you feel?
Well, obviously, it was very overwhelming, but nobody upstages Sheriff Mack. Sheriff Mack is the man. He brought these sheriffs into this meeting, and it just amazed the crowd with the love that these sheriffs have for their counties, and that's what it's all about as far as being a sheriff, loving your county, wanting to serve.
And I want to thank Sheriff Mack has to go, and I just wanted to thank him for coming and being here with us. And what a man he is. I mean, he's just a brave man. Now, Dow, you and I probably had more to do with Stan running for sheriff, and so he's just started talking to me again. How about you? Is he talking to you?
He twisted his arm a few times. We just, because we're good friends, we knew he was the best man for the job. So it took a little convincing. We had to pick on him a little bit, but here he is.
Yeah, it is. It's through Christ Avengers, which I've talked about and which we talk about on the show all the time. Christ Avengers it's a conference that I do. It's an all-day conference where I try to talk Christians into be involved in politics as well as running. And Dow and Stan were both at my first one. I've known both of them for a while, but Stan I've known for years, and I've known the kind of class he has. And but when he came to the conference, that's when Dow and I started talking to him about you've been a sheriff, you were a deputy sheriff here in Clark County for 30 years. You retired, and you just had the temper for it, and you had the skills and everything. And so, what did you learn out of this whole thing? I mean, when you were out there
Running
for sheriff.
Well, I learned that politics can be fun and it can be not fun. It just depends on. I enjoyed meeting all the people that I met in the county. I love giving my message out, my message of constitutionality, a message of love for our police department. We have the greatest police department, I believe, in the country. I've worked with it for 30 years. I believe that the officers here that are serving Clark County love their community, and I love my police department. And just being part of that and campaigning to be the top cop for that police department was an amazing experience. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot from it.
And it in reality, as far as the recount went, there was a recount that was done by a professional organization, and they actually had Tom Roberts with about 109,000 votes. Stan had 90,000, and McMahill, how many did he have? About 3 votes? 60,000, 60,000. In other words, Tom Roberts and Stan should be going through a runoff right now, and McMahill should be, having his tail tucked between his legs and being home right now. And that's the kind of thing that this whole event is about here. It's about getting election integrity. You can't have election integrity with mail-in ballots where anybody can just throw their ballots around, and machines that can be, algorithm to go the way they were. In fact, I was listening to somebody yesterday who was telling me that because of the sheriff's race, because they wanted McMahill and he was so far behind, that the algorithm had to be changed several times, and it affected every other race. And so, and that's just something that needs to stop. And that's why I do this show. It's trying to get Christians involved, because we're the only ones who can stop this stuff. It's us, because we're the light of the world. And and the thing I appreciate about Stan so much, and Sherelle Mendenhall, the same thing, is when they went out speaking, when they spoke to a church or whether they spoke to the regular people, they had the same message. They talked about Christ, about that's their motivation, their guide for everything. That's who they believed in. And I appreciated that, because not many Christians, even in politics, do that. Now, you kind of been new a little bit to this thing, and we started the PAC, and so what were the things that, because I know you had a lot to do with setting this up with Richard Mack, because you've been his friend for a long time. So what did you get out of are you getting out of this?
Well, so far, we're about halfway through so far, but I've known Richard for 23 plus years, and he's been a personal friend. He's stayed with us quite a few times when he's come to town to do business, and just one thing led to another, and he kind of gave me his vision for what was going to happen here at this event. And we started off with, I know 100 people were going to show up, and I think we're probably close to 4. Yeah. So it's kind of evolved into something. But this is not just a get together and feel warm and fuzzy. This is a call to action. We have got to solve this voting thing. We're losing this country, and this is the way we're going to take it back.
Yeah, and he Dow's been, like I said, he's kind of new to the political realm a little bit. Well, he was involved when
many years ago.
Yeah, Ron Paul, and crazy things happening. There's a lot of people who are upset with the Republican Party right now because they kind of, they didn't do what they said they were going to do. And And the only way we defeat that is by getting more numbers than they have. If they have 200, we have 300, guess who wins? We do. And it's just a matter of being involved and staying strong in that. And so, Stan, I want to, if you were to become sheriff, which there's still a possibility, by the way, it hasn't, if judges will look at this recount and will look at this stuff that's going on and that's happening, they can actually overturn the election and get it to where Stan actually would run against Tom Roberts. So what would you do if you became sheriff? What are some of the things that you would do?
There's quite a few things. I'd like to improve the morale of the police officers on the department by showing them that we have their backs, by showing them how important they are and their job is. I'd like to improve their image to the community by showing the community just what a great police department we have. I want to work on things like election integrity. If I were to have gotten elected in this term, I would have stood in the gap for the next election and made sure that we had officers present at the county facilities and that things were done above board. And there's a lot of things I would like to do as the sheriff of Clark County. I'd like to investigate sex trafficking and human trafficking. Those are big issues here in Las Vegas, as well as voter fraud, of course, and just taking care of crime. I want to serve protect the community not only from crime but also from government overreach, making sure that our community is not subject to government overreach. And that's a big part of a sheriff's job, not just protecting them from crime, but making sure that their constitutional rights are not violated, that they're not forced into wearing masks or taking a shot that's considered dangerous. Those are the things that I want to do and protect our county. Absolutely. Yeah. Protecting businesses being closed down, churches especially, they're a target because they're our last defense against a tyrannical government. And so I wanted, as sheriff, to protect us not only from crime, but from government overreach and a tyrannical government.
Now, this is something I heard you talk about a lot, which impressed a lot of people, too, is sanctuary cities and immigration.
See, we've broken off relationships with ICE right now, the ICE leadership.
Joe Lombardo?
Well, he has broken up that relationship. I don't know why. I'd have to talk to him about it personally. But my first order of business would be to reestablish our relationship. And if they are not up to the task of protecting us from illegal immigrants, I will augment the ICE leadership and help them with officers from our department, because even if it is a slight tax drain on our department, in the long run, it would help us overall because of all the drained resources that are taking place because of the illegal immigration in our community. We love immigration. It's just the illegal immigration which is draining us because we don't have a tax base for that.
All right. People don't understand that immigration, there's a difference between legal and illegal immigration. And our founding fathers actually put together a whole laws about legal immigration. I mean, people had literally, when they came here, they had to learn English. That was a requirement. They had to know the laws of our country, and they had to be patriotic. And they say that when they raise their hand and say they're going to become a citizen. And the thing that our founding fathers said, if they cannot assimilate to our way of life, in other words, the flag, the English language, and even to a point of worshiping God, but if they could not assimilate to America, in 5 years they were asked to leave. They were actually asked to leave. Those are part of the laws that our founding fathers put into place, and gosh, it's just it's really frustrating. And now I want to go back to you real quick second here. What's going on with the PAC right now? Do you just tell us a little bit about the PAC? What's going on?
We meet once a month. We've got a pretty consistent number of members that are coming. A lot of discounts we offer the membership of the Political Action Committee. We're having guest speakers. It's a good platform for candidates, for people who want to get the truth out there about different issues. Our last meeting, we had some heated debates, which speaks for itself. It's good. It's safe. People are passionate about getting this country back and turning things around. So let's let it happen in that environment.
It was fun. I enjoy a good confrontation. I refereed high school sports for 25 years, and so I'm used to it. It didn't bother me. But we are an organization that wants to work within the Republican Party. We don't like everybody who's in leadership. We don't hate everybody who's in leadership, but we want to get people like, Sherelle Mendenhall would be great as our county commission chairman. She would do great. She'd be great as the state chairman. That's not up for a few years, but that's how we need that. That's the route we're going, and is we are trying to take over the Republican Party and get the good people involved. And instead of having these I call them jackasses because, a lot of them are kind of like jackasses. But I mean, the Democrats, aren't they jackasses? I mean, they're the donkey, right? So I mean, we want to run them out rather than they come in and run us out. And I see that happen. Have you seen that, Stan? When you've got some of that stuff in the party?
I've seen some suppression of debate, which is very unfortunate. I'm seeing our news agencies overwhelmingly Democratic or leftist to the point that they don't want to discuss issues, and they will suppress conservative voices, Christian voices, and I do feel that that's very unfortunate.
Yeah, that's right on. They do try to suppress the truth, and that's how and the truth makes people mad. I mean, because the thing that the truth does is it makes people make a change. It's just like the truth. Jesus Christ is the truth. I am the way, the truth, and the life. But when you accept Jesus as your truth, as Jesus as your Savior, you need to make a change in your life. And when you hear the truth of what's happening out there in our country right now, it forces you to make a change in your life. And if you don't make that change, things happen. And I can attest to that personally. I mean, when I first came to know Christ, I was raised Catholic. I came to know Christ. My life didn't change. I was still seeking women, trying to, seeking my selfish pleasures. I mean, and until I started reading the Word and getting knowledge, then I saw I needed to make a change. And that's what's tough for people to do, is to make that kind of change. And we need you out there. We need you to hear the truth and make changes. Dow, I want you to, give a little plug to your business, because you work hard and you and have helped me a lot in with the PAC and with everything. And so you are owner of a business. That's correct?
Yeah, company's called Mold Doctor. We do water damage, mold testing, lab reports. I'm a general contractor, a lot of remodels. People have water damage and mold, that kind of thing. But we build bathrooms, kitchens, home additions, interior construction. So we've been in business 29 years now.
29 years. And he is so busy. It's really hard for him to do the PAC. So a lot of times, trying to get through. My favorite thing is calling Dow. And then when he doesn't answer, I get a text message. I'll call you back. and most of the time he does. Not all the time. But that's okay. He's a busy man, and what he does is good. But what we're doing here and what's being done here, Dow, quickly, what have you seen happening so far? What is the response of people out here?
Oh, I think people are pumped. I mean, we've got to get this country back, and we've got to solve this vote. This is it. My reason for being involved in this is, I'm friends with Richard, but this is a call to action. Let's take the information we've got. Let's build our football team. Let's go fight in the Super Bowl.
That's right. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and this is a nonpartisan effort here. It's just like the sheriff's race. We need everybody on board for fair elections. We don't want Republicans to cheat for themselves. We don't want Democrats to cheat for themselves. This is for an honest election across the board. If the Democrat is the better candidate, we want that person in office. If the Republican's the better candidate, we want that person in office. The one that's best suited to serve their communities, the ones that love their communities and will protect their communities.
Yeah, I almost agree with that. I mean, there are certain races, like if you were a Democrat, I would want you in. It's a nonpartisan race. But in partisan races, anytime you vote for a Democrat, you're voting for Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer. And so, I mean, what he said, I agree with in part a little bit. You know what surprised me was this was happening. Davy Crockett, it actually happened to Davy Crockett. That shocked me, that this voter fraud has happened actually all the way back in the 1800s. I was shocked at that. Were you too, Dow? I mean,
it's a history lesson for me.
I mean, it's hard to believe that we've gone this long and had this stuff happen. But it just goes to show you that, there was corruption even way back when, during our founding fathers, when they were around. All right, and so I think that's about our time. And I want to thank Richard Mack. I want to thank Dal Warner, Stan Hite. I want to thank you all for being here. And, I really hope that each and every one of you gets involved. Every Christian needs to be involved in the political realm. Jesus was involved. He turned over tables, and he told the Pharisees that they were vipers, and he did that for a reason. So God bless you all. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to Christ's Avengers. If you would like to contact Jim Blockey, you can email him at jimblockey@gmail.com. That's JIMBLOCKEY@gmail.com. If you would like to keep this show on the air, you can donate by going to ChristAvengers.com. That's Christ with an S. We'll see you again next Tuesday at noon. And remember to put on the full armor of God every day.